Okay, welcome to my garden. Today is July 5th, 2016, and I'm going to take a little movie of my garden to show you where it's at. You'll see up here we've got my Genovese Basil, and this is actually about a week and a half after I've picked it, and when I picked it down to like down here and made a whole bunch of pesto. And as you can see, it's grown back very, very quickly. My basil tends to do very, very well in my garden, so I have a lot of it growing. There's more growing over here too. And in my upside down planters, I have some jalapeno plants. And we can see some little jalapenos growing on there. Whee! There's a couple there too. Whee! How cute. And I've got a Serrano pepper over there. He's not doing quite as well as the jalapenos, but he's hanging in there. And I have some lettuce down here. I had more lettuce. I had a combination of green leaf lettuce, and this sort of reddish tinged leaf lettuce. And the green leaf lettuce went to seed really quickly, so I had to pick all of that and take it out. But the reddish one, it seems to be doing okay in this heat, and it's very, very hot today, by the way. And it's been hot for a while. So note to self, get more red lettuce for next year because it lasts longer. So there's a little bit of extra right in there. I'm growing some arugula, delicious. Put that on pizza and in salads, very, very good. And what else do we have here? We have a little bit of an experiment this year. This is a little kind of a little teepee I made here of snap peas, and the snap peas haven't started flowering yet. I got going a little late on these this year, and they're not really loving this heat, but we'll see how they do. But you'll notice that I also planted some nasturtiums in there because I figured once the snap peas go, the nasturtiums will be able to take over, and those will look nice and pretty. So they're kind of growing together in harmony there. Speaking of companion planting, we have some little Tiny Tim tomatoes as well as some Spicy Globe basil, and they're hanging in there together, and you can see that there's a few tomatoes growing in there. I've got my chives growing in an old recycled toilet tank. Haha! And if you look closely, you'll see that my chives are actually starting to go to seed, so there's actually, I could harvest all the seed from that too. Here we have purple potted beans, and I've got them growing up here along some string. And in fact, they reached up at the top a couple weeks ago, so I've been cutting them off so that they don't flop over. And I haven't seen any flowers yet, but I think they're coming very, very soon. Over here I have my rain barrel, and right now it's hooked up to a hose that is actually running down into my garden down over there, and there's a soaker hose that's actually buried in the garden all the way down there, and then also out into the laneway garden. And right now I've got the because the barrel's full, so I decided to hook that up, and I'm letting it drain so that it goes straight into the garden. Here we have another little experiment. I have some asparagus growing. And I don't know if it'll do well here. First of all, it's in a kind of a small area, and that's not a pot, by the way. That's an old recycled cast iron pipe that we found, or a pipe piece, and we just basically stood it up on its end. And anyways, I filled that up with potting soil, and it is open to the ground underneath. And yeah, so the asparagus looks nice, and you can see there's some like tiny little baby asparagus stems growing up in there. They look super cute. You're not supposed to pick them for the first 2 years, apparently, while it gets established, but it is a perennial, and it's supposed to keep coming back over and over and over again and give you delicious asparagus. So we'll see if that works out. And over here, another experiment. This is Malabar Spinach, and it's supposed to actually grow up. It's supposed to climb, which is why I've got the string up against the fence, but it hasn't really been hot enough, and also doesn't get a lot of direct sun here, so I don't think it's doing super, super well. We'll see if it picks up in the next few weeks. I did plant Malabar Spinach on the other side of the garden. It's doing a lot better, and I'll show that to you later. Over here I have some, I just started these today. These are pots full of potting soil, and I planted some kale, but it's a type of cut and come and kale called Abundance Kale that's really, really tender, and you're supposed to sort of eat it like salad greens. It's so I decided to try planting that in these pots, and those pots will eventually, once the kale has sprouted and it's strong enough, I'm actually going to transfer them up into these holders right up here. Normally I put 4 pots in each one of those planter thingies there. I had them up there beforehand with some Impatiens, but I had to move the Impatiens, which you'll see why in a moment. And then right here, in fact I'll take this off to show you, what I've done is I've got a couple baskets that I found. I actually have 4 baskets. I've got 2 more on the other side, and I just lined them with landscape fabric actually, and filled them up with potting soil, and I'm growing carrots and turnips in here. And again, this is an experiment. The turnips are these white Tokyo turnips that are supposed to be super fast to grow, like about 30 days, so we'll see. And the carrots are actually Paris market carrots, which are the round carrots, in case you're wondering, because that container normally would not be deep enough to grow carrots, but these round carrots kind of look cute. They sort of look like radishes, except orange and carroty. So I think that'll be interesting. I've got 2 rows in each, and we'll see how that works. I'm going to put this back on. And in case you're wondering what these are picnic covers, picnic kind of mesh covers. And I put these on here because if I don't, the squirrels get in here and start digging through my pots and throwing my seeds all over the place. So we can't have that. So until everything's established and grown, I leave that like that. And of course the nice thing about that too is that it provides a tiny little bit of shade too, which is nice when I'm trying to get the seeds to germinate. It means that the soil doesn't dry out quite as quickly. Okay, let's go and look over onto this side. Here I've got another really nice Tiny Tim tomato plant. This is the smallest pot I've ever tried growing a Tiny Tim tomato in, and I can't believe how well it's doing. So note to self, I keep thinking I need a really big pot to grow tomatoes in, but for these Tiny Tims, they do really well in these small pots, so I'm going to do more of that in the future. You can see here, these tomatoes are looking awesome. There's tons on them here and lots of flowers. I grew some catnip from seed. It's fallen over because I just watered it. And this is some more spicy globe basil. And here's some more arugula right here, and that's grown from seed. The catnip and the arugula was grown from seed. The basil were seedlings. Over here we have some more beans. You can see that they're going all the way up there. And I've stopped them there. I used to have them go up to the top up there, but then it just gets a little unmanageable and hard to take care of. So I decided to stop it right there. We have down here, this is some marjoram. I'm 99% sure that's marjoram. It actually came back from last year. I thought it was oregano at first, but it looks a little bit different from oregano. My oregano is a little bit fuzzier, and this isn't quite as vigorous either, so I'm pretty sure this is marjoram. Right here I have a Lemon Boy tomato. It's doing okay. It's actually not doing as well as the rest of my tomatoes, but all told though, I'm still happy with the way it's doing. It's a little wilted right now only because it's about 12:30 in the afternoon, and this is the heat of the sun, and it's well watered. It's just having a hard time pulling enough water into its leaves. It will pop back up as soon as the sun kind of shifts over and it's not quite as hot. It'll perk up again. I'm pretty sure about that. Here I have some lettuce leaf basil, and it does really well. And again, I've harvested that already. Again, I harvested down to like about 2 or 3 inches tall, and about a week and a half ago, and it's already grown back to that much. Again, basil does really well in my garden, so I take advantage of that and grow a lot. And this is a purple Cherokee tomato, and it's doing really well. Again, it's just a little wilted because it's so hot right now. And you can see if we can find it, I don't know if you can see it in there, there is a tomato in there. Let's see if I can find it. Right there. I don't know if it's in the shade there. There it is. Beautiful tomato. Yeah, it actually formed a couple weeks ago. It was really early. There's another one up there. And lots of flowers on this one. I think he's going to do well. I've never grown purple Cherokee before, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out. Here I've got underneath here more carrots and turnips. I'm thinking once these guys have actually sprouted. I might actually just put them along here, kind of stepwise. I've got 4 of them, so I could put 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. But for now, because I need to keep them covered, I think this works out fine. So I'm just going to keep that covered like that. And inside here, I just sowed this today, some lettuce, and this is a super dark red lettuce that is nice and frilly and does well in low light. And then over here, I have another jalapeno plant, and with some spicy glow basil. And up here, along here, these are impatiens, just to kind of look. They look pretty. There's not much else I can grow here. That, by the way, is an old CD rack that I pulled out of the garbage, and it looks much nicer as a plant stand than as a CD rack. Over here we have a little vertical garden. This is thyme, and it's doing really well. And I grew inside here, I just sowed today some more kale, and down here more of that darkness lettuce. That's that same purple lettuce that I have in the other pot. Over here I have more catnip, and then here is the Malabar spinach that I was telling you about, and it's doing much better here. You can see that it's growing up the fence, and that's the way it's supposed to be. It's going to grow, well, the pictures I've seen show that it's going to grow all the way up the fence. And it's not a real spinach, but apparently you can cut the leaves and cook them just like spinach, and they taste just like spinach. Botanically it's not spinach, but it's a good replacement for spinach, and it's apparently super healthy, etc., etc. And the nice thing about it is that you can grow it all summer long, even when it's super hot. And I really have a hard time growing regular spinach, because A, it gets too hot in the middle of the summer, and B, I also have these little leaf miners that attack my spinach and my Swiss chard, etc., etc. So I have a real hard time growing those types of greens. So I thought I'd give this a try, and so far I'm really happy with the way it's working out. And we can see there's some nice impatiens growing here. And over on this side, I have more tomatoes. These tomatoes are doing nicely. This is a lemon boy tomato. Back here, it's a little hard to see, it's a little dark. That's San Marzano, a paste tomato. And then over here, there's another lemon boy tomato, and it's kind of buried in there. But they're both doing really, or all 3 of them are doing really well. Sorry about that. My camera battery ran out. So we were talking about my tomatoes here. As I mentioned, I've got 3 tomatoes, 3 tall tomatoes growing in the ground. The San Marzano, no, sorry, the lemon boy, the San Marzano, and another lemon boy. And as you can see, if I back up here, you'll see they are about halfway up to the top of the fence. And for July 5th, that's actually pretty good. They're doing really well this year. I'm very happy about that. By the end of the summer, they'll most definitely be at the top of the fence and above that. Inside these pots, we have, interestingly enough, some Tiny Tim tomatoes, and they are way bigger than the Tiny Tim tomatoes in the small pots on the other side, and yet they were all from the same little cell packet, which just goes to show that the Tiny Tims will grow as large as the pot that you give it. So that's fascinating. You can see I've got lots of tomatoes growing in here. There's even a fairly big tomato going on right there, pretty big for a Tiny Tim tomato, and that's mixed up with some spicy glow basil. And then you'll notice down here, I actually just replanted these today, more impatiens. Normally I like to plant impatiens down here because it's just a nice ground cover and it does well in the kind of semi-shade. And interestingly, this year, normally I plant them and then they get nice and big like that. But this year, all the impatiens that I planted here and here kind of all wilted and died. And so I looked it up online, and I'm not quite sure what happened, because impatiens are normally quite good. They don't suffer from a lot of problems. So the best I could think of is maybe some sort of wilt, or possibly a fungus or something. So what I did was I took everything out. I dug down both that area and that area right there. I actually dug down about 4 or 5 inches and got rid of that soil, and I replaced it with just topsoil. Like, I just got a bag at Lowe's yesterday, and just because I'm wondered if maybe there's a problem with the soil, just some sort of fungus got in there, so, or disease. So I replaced the soil, at least the top 4 or 5 inches. And then I planted these new Impatiens. You can see there's some Impatiens back there and back there and back there. Those were the original ones I planted, and they're doing fine. These new ones down here actually came from those pots, the clay pots that I had up on those on the fence earlier. So I put them there, and we're going to see if they manage to survive. I hope that they do well, because when that fills out, it looks really, really pretty, and it brightens up this area, because otherwise it gets quite dark. And then over here we have some nice big Serrano peppers, 2 Serrano peppers, and I think, yeah, if you can see, there's a couple of peppers growing in there, so they're cute. And I interplanted it. I've got some Nasturtiums growing in there as well, and they're pretty big. I'm not sure that was necessarily a great idea. I keep having to push it back. I think next time, if I do this again, if I ever interplant Nasturtiums with something like this, I might pick a smaller variety. And then here I have my little blueberry tree, my blueberry bush. I planted this late last summer, so it didn't flower at all this spring, so therefore I didn't get any blueberries, but that's fine. I think it takes a couple years to get established anyways. And then here we can see more Nasturtiums, or not Nasturtiums, Impatiens. They're doing well. I've got some chives. I have my Trillium that I've actually been had for quite some time. I've had that since we lived on 67 West, actually, and we just keep bringing it around with us. And I've got some hostas right there, and my little Japanese maple, which actually is cute but is not doing well at all. Last year we thought it had died. This year it's come back, but we've had to prune it quite a bit because there are a lot of dead branches, and I don't know what exactly we're going to do. We might end up cutting off the main trunk and seeing if we can regrow it or something. And these hanging planters, I've got some wild thyme, which is really cute, and I can see that there's some more right over here. That just adds some nice green right there. And then these center boxes, let's see, we've got some green onions growing here. This is my oregano, and this is the second year it's been growing, so it does really, really well. It's quite big, and I've cut that back a lot. I have some chamomile growing right there, and I'm having a really hard time with chamomile. I don't know why, but I just never seem to be able to do very well with it. I suspect we don't have enough sun here, so, but anyways, it's hanging in there. I have some sage. These are garlic chives, and when that flowers, it looks really nice. It's got very pretty white flowers, and there's some curly parsley right there. The parsley and the sage I actually just transplanted today. They were in another pot earlier, but they weren't doing too well, so I think they'll do better in here. And here I have some more large leaf basil, and I had actually cut that all down quite a lot a week and a half ago, and it's already popped back up. Here we have my cilantro garden. And it's pretty much done now. I'm just letting it go to seed because I'd like it to reseed itself for next year. But yeah, that's what that is. This is a pineapple sage, which is really pretty, and I wish you could smell it, because it actually, if you smell the leaves, it literally smells like pineapple. It's really quite nice. And when it flowers, it's really, really beautiful red flowers. I don't know if it'll flower. I don't know if it's got enough sunlight to flower, but in the meantime, it looks quite nice. This is lemongrass. That's my first time growing that. I think it looks quite pretty. Over on this side, we have some Thai basil, which is really, really nice, and it seems to be doing very well now. I find that Thai basil usually takes a while to get going, but now it's nice and warm, so it's starting to take off. And I have more oregano here, and again, I've cut that back quite a bit, and that also is the second year it's been growing. And here is some Italian parsley. Now that was actually huge a few days ago, but I cut everything back. I cut it all down, I harvested everything, and I made like a parsley pesto and froze it. And so now already it's starting to grow back, and we've got some nice tender new growth there, which is really pretty. And then we've got some more green onions growing right here. So that pretty much takes care of my backyard garden. I'm going to just pop around here, and we're going to look at the alleyway garden, which is out here. Just like that. And here we go. So we'll see over here, I have a little corner area here where this came back from last year. I had some wild thyme growing as well as some sage, and that came back. I just planted some turnips. These are milk crates, and I've just lined them with landscape fabric, and I just today I actually had planted some radishes in there, and I harvested like a while ago, and I just harvested them today, and then I just planted turnips in there. And the reason I've got the netting on it is, oh, here comes the sun, is because, again, trying to keep the squirrels out. And here we have radishes growing, and what I've done, I actually sowed radishes every 5 days, so that's why these are bigger than these. And so the whole idea is I pick them every 5 days and then I plant something else in there. So it's a little too late in the season now to be starting radishes. I'd have to wait, or it's too hot now. So I think when I pick these radishes, I'll probably start planting something like turnips or something else. On this side, we see I've got more tomatoes. In fact, I'll kind of do a overview here. We've got some really nice tomatoes, and these tomatoes on this side are the tomatoes that are doing the best. And these are, I've got San Marzano, Lemon Boy, San Marzano, Lemon Boy, San Marzano. They're doing super, super well, and they're basically just growing up along these strings that I have tied there, and I just basically wrap the stem around the string to keep it nice and straight. And I also have eggplants. These are Little Fingers eggplants, you can see there, and some of them have a lot more flowers on them than others, so you can see they're doing really well. All of them are doing well. I'm quite happy with the way they're doing. This one is probably the one that's doing the best. This one gets the most sun, so that makes a lot of sense. And well, in between here we see there are some lettuce leaf basil there, or large leaf basil right there. And again, once again, I harvested all of that about a week and a half ago, and it's already come back really, really well. So it's doing really, really well. And then down here we have, up until last week, or up until this morning, I had radishes growing here, and I harvested them all this morning, and then I planted parsnips. I did one big long row of parsnips all the way down like that, and the reason I've got it covered like that is to keep the squirrels from digging it up. And that is my garden. And I'm just going to come down here so we can see it from this angle. There we go. I'm going to walk inside here. Lovely, lovely garden. There we go. Oh, here comes the sun. Nice. And we can see some nice trees there, so pretty. And looking up there, it's really nice that this canopy gives us some nice shade during the middle of the day, but it doesn't really cover much of my garden, which is really nice. Now it's that tree actually that's shading this area, but that's okay. These are herbs and they do fine. And little sitting area, nice little area there. There's the barbecue. Oh, cute little area right here. There's my kind of messy storage area down there. And here we can see the hot peppers growing there. Very nice. And it'll be interesting to revisit this in about a month ago. So hopefully by then we'll be able to start picking some tomatoes, and we'll start seeing some flowers and some beans growing. And I really expect, hopefully we'll see some snap peas as well too. And yeah, there we go. That's my garden.